Haiti, a small nation in the Caribbean that occupies the western half of an island shared with the Dominican Republic, is currently facing its worst food crisis in 15 years. As the title indicates, this crisis is the result of three separate, significant food justice frameworks, the combination of which have been catastrophic for the population of Haiti.
The three components of this EJ crisis are food sovereignty, food access, and global climate change. Food access details the country's ability to actually transport and provide food to its citizens. Without proper food sovereignty and access, nations with high levels of poverty run the risk of widespread starvation.
Food sovereignty describes a country's ability to produce consistent, nutritious sources of food for its people at an affordable level. It is the dominant part of the food crisis in Haiti, as the nation is not able to produce enough food to feed its people. More than half of the food consumed in Haiti over the past decade has come from other countries and international organizations in the form of food aid.
Food access has proven to be an issue because of Haiti's lacking amount of infrastructure investment within the country. The roads and bridges needed to transport food are left in disrepair by a resource-starved government and numerous natural disasters. Without a stable path to transfer food from one region to another, food access within the country has been jeopardized.
As shown by the graph, climate change has led to an increase in natural disasters, which augment the issue of food sovereignty and food access by killing crops and livestock and destroying the nation's already limited infrastructure at an increased rate. Climate change is also associated with the 3 years of El Niño weather conditions that have contributed to the drought conditions and have devastated Haiti's crop yield.
Under Haiti's current economic situation, 3/4 of the Haitians live on less than $2 a day, and half the population earns less than $1 a day. Over 50% of the population is malnourished. This extreme poverty is exacerbated by a series of natural disasters, the sources of which have been attributed to Haiti's location in the Caribbean, poor infrastructure, and the effects of climate change.
And then the country was hit by a Category 4 hurricane named Matthew, which left 806,000 people in need of urgent food assistance and eradicated food industry livelihoods for 2 million people. Haitian President Jocelyn Prévert told the BBC that devastating losses from Hurricane Matthew were equal to the country's entire national budget, an estimated $2 billion. As shown on the maps, the regions most affected by the hurricane are La Grandes and the Sud departments of Haiti. Hurricane Matthew formed in the southern portion of the Caribbean and traveled north, coming into contact with Haiti's southern handle. For a time, the eye of the storm passed directly over La Grandes. Some of Haiti's largest metropolitan areas, including the cities Jérémie, Jacmel, Lecce, and the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince, were most affected.
Hurricane Matthew hit the departments Le Sud and La Grandes the hardest. Cities like Jérémie were particularly affected, with 80% of buildings having been leveled. The hurricane placed 1.5 million Haitians in a situation of severe food insecurity. As shown by the image, many of the areas rated between medium and high agricultural use, which The Guardian referred to as Haiti's breadbasket, were the most affected by Hurricane Matthew. President Prévert told the BBC, "If we don't manage to relaunch agriculture, then in 3 to 4 months we'll find ourselves with a major food crisis." This is especially true for Haitians living in remote areas that were severely impacted by the hurricane. These remote areas experienced an acute level of food access injustice because of their lack of transportational infrastructure.
Fortunately, there are several international organizations addressing the issue. Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the UN, has personally visited Haiti and placed significant international attention on the issue. He also gave a personal account of the looting of UN aid vehicles. The UN World Food Program is launching an $84 million appeal to help stave off extreme malnutrition and deaths in an already fragile Haiti.
Smaller NGOs have contributed much-needed food aid to Haiti before and after Hurricane Matthew. Soil conservation and job creation efforts have been led by Plant with Purpose. Life for Relief and Development has been targeting food access issues regarding food aid. And Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation has been working to clean destruction of Jérémie while helping distribute food aid.
However, for all of these efforts, a major question in relation to the food crisis is, where does the money come from? To meet the basic needs of 1 million Haitians, the World Food Program, which is funded entirely by voluntary contributions, must raise a necessary $84 million. Similarly, the UN's efforts rely on funds provided by member states. Haiti itself lacks the capital to fund food aid and restoration programs, making the nation reliant on international aid.
In the metropolitan area shown, the physical destruction caused by Hurricane Matthew is almost indescribable. In addition to physical destruction in major cities, the hurricane also uprooted trees and stripped vegetation from the earth. What is left can hardly be described as a city, rather a pile of rubble with a smattering of buildings strewn throughout.
In terms of historical precedents, Haiti has had a particularly awful history of natural disasters. In 2008, Haiti was hit by 4 separate tropical storms, Faye, Gustave, Hannah, and Ike, which devastated nearly 3/4 of its agricultural land. Adding insult to injury, a cholera outbreak was brought by Nepalese peacekeepers who were providing aid after a magnitude 7 earthquake hit Haiti's capital in 2010.
In 2004, the Indian Ocean tsunami and earthquake caused significantly more damage than Hurricane Matthew, but there was also more international assistance. The U.S. private sector alone donated $1.5 billion to the recovery of countries impacted by the tsunami. The UN, on the other hand, has struggled to raise $84 million for Haiti, and Silicon Valley is being applauded for raising $300,000.
The massive amount of destruction and need for international assistance lends itself to being covered internationally. As a result, media organizations from around the world have been conducting investigative reporting on the food crisis in Haiti left in the wake of Hurricane Matthew. Reputable organizations such as the BBC and The Guardian in Britain and other francophone sources have provided some of the most consistent coverage.
In addition to prominent media outlets from around the world, much of the coverage for the Haitian food crisis has come directly from major international organizations, including UN organs. The Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, has himself maintained a high level of visibility concerning the crisis. Many detailed reports have been published by the World Food Programme and the UNFAO, containing hands-on research from sources on the ground in Haiti.
In conclusion, the food crisis in Haiti exemplifies issues of food sovereignty, food access, and climate justice. The food crisis in Haiti demonstrates the intersectionality in environmental justice issues. The role of climate change in the intensifying in both strength and frequency of natural disasters in Haiti indisputably affects food access and food sovereignty. Each of these components must be addressed if Haiti's overall food security is to be established and maintained.